Ian Rapoport reported on Sunday that the Bears' next head coach search will begin quickly, which will now be led by CEO and president Kevin Warren. Warren, who was rumored to have wanted to have fired Matt Eberflus after last season, got his wish and expressed his support with Ryan Poles doing so, which in my personal opinion really sounds like he did it. Ryan Poles is just being the front man. But anyway, he's gone. That's all that matters. And considering neither Flus or Warren thanked each other in their final statements about the firing, kind of made it clear. But Rapoport also stated how Warren will lead the next head coach search and Ryan Poles will be an assistant on it. I'm here to break down what this is going to look like, as this is some pretty big news. But hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Now, before I get into today's show, hit that like button if you're excited for this upcoming offseason for the Chicago Bears, along with commenting who you want the Bears' next head coach to be. And are you a Bears fan? Want free Bears news and notifications daily? Hit that subscribe button, and if you do, we're giving away a custom jersey to one lucky subscriber. All you need to do, like this video, comment who you want the next head coach to be, and subscribe to the channel. So Ryan Poles will assist in the next Bears head coaching search, which begins here quickly. So from what I'm understanding and what Ian Rapoport said, Poles will be involved in the search for the Chicago Bears' next head coach, and it'll be more of a bring to the table situation. What I mean by this is that Poles stood by Eberflus after this past offseason, had the opportunity to fire him. Remember, Eberflus was strapped to Ryan Poles. He didn't have a choice in Flus. And they ended up becoming good friends, it looks like. But business and friends, never try to mix them too much. And the Bears general manager stood by Flus when Kevin Warren gave him the opportunity to chew up 3 years of his contract, not let this Bears team get to a 4-8 situation this year, and bring in a top head coach candidate like a Dan Quinn, like a Jim Harbaugh, both having stellar season with their respective teams, by the way. The Bears had the opportunity to do that, and Ryan Poles stuck with his guy. With that, Warren seems to have lost a little bit of trust in Poles in that regard, and is coming from a Minnesota Vikings team, other successful NFL franchises, commissioner of the Big Ten and president and CEO as well. This guy knows how to win. This guy knows how to get the job done. And Poles is still going to have a large part in what's going to happen, but Warren is going to have the final say, and he is going to look at all options possible. And this is good for Ryan Poles, in my personal opinion. It's going to give him the opportunity to focus more on building the roster, using those draft picks, using that $82 million projected in cap, who he'll bring back. And honestly, I like the move. Poles had nothing to do with bringing in Andy Reid to Kansas City when he was a part of their front office that was led by their general manager, and he was strapped to Matt Eberflus unfairly, but he still had a chance to get rid of him and didn't. This gives the opportunity that Ryan Poles is a great general manager when it comes to building rosters, but the president and CEO and Kevin Warren, who's done this before and has had success with it, can do it again. And he's also taking responsibility if it goes wrong. And Ryan Poles doesn't have as much heat on himself just yet. So what does this mean for Kevin Warren's impact? Well, the Bears did an entire revamp of the front office backwards. If you guys know what I mean by this, is that they hired Matt Eberflus first, then Ryan Poles, then Kevin Warren, where it should have been Warren first, then Poles, then the head coach that they chose on. But Warren has not really messed around since getting to the Chicago Bears. And I know you guys are like, well, the stadium ain't being built yet. There's a lot going on there. And Kevin Warren has done a fantastic job at getting things done. He's gone hard with the stadium with tax breaks, other different places to put it, how they're going to design it. I mean, we got those renderings in 8 months of him being here. That's pretty darn impressive. Along with that, too, he has brought change to this team. Firing Matt Eberflus in the middle of the season, first CEO to ever do that for the Chicago Bears. Firing Shane Waldron in the middle of the season. That's happened before, but still very good time for that. Releasing players that take on millions of cap like Nate Davis and Chase Claypool, and making it known that he is always considering fans in every decision. Warren's track record, pretty darn impressive, was the vice president of the Minnesota Vikings, which look at them now and look at their stadium. On top of that, too, he has been a part of other teams and being a consultant, having a Super Bowl ring with the LA Rams. He was the CEO, president, and commissioner of the Big Ten, which they've had immense success over the last couple of years, and a lawyer as well. I mean, this guy is wicked smart, knows how to lead, isn't afraid of change, takes risk, and usually wins when he does take it. So Kevin Warren, in my personal opinion, is the next guy to lead this franchise. And I think it's the correct choice of him choosing the next head coach, because there's already been multiple coaches connected. and I'm excited to bring that all to the table for you guys in my next segment. Now, before I get into the coaches that are already linked to the Chicago Bears, according to Ian Rappaport, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Authentico. 100% organic tequila made in Guadalajara, Mexico, is a Chicago-based startup and family-owned, 100% USDA organic, no additives, and this stuff is fantastic. If you like tequila, go to the link in the description now to find Authentico near you. Comes in 3 great flavors and very competitively priced. You do not want to miss out. So let's go to the coaches that are already linked to the Chicago Bears, according to Ian Rappaport, which number 1 is obviously pretty easy. Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. He has led a top 3 offense over the last 3 years, developed players, has an impact on the offensive roster, working with their general manager, and is very well respected. And he's had multiple tryouts in front of Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles in the Chicago Bears team recently on Thanksgiving, and where we see trick plays, moving the chains, people liking what they see in the offense, just good overall ball movement. That's what the Bears want, especially with Caleb Williams. And the Bears offense owning the time of possession in the second half saved us from Ben Johnson being able to power up and blow out this team in the second half. When Ben Johnson was cooking, especially in the first half, he was cooking. In the second half, Bears owned time of possession like the Lions did in the first half, and Ben Johnson wasn't able to get things entirely going in his direction. Second guy I want to hit on today is Mike Vrabel, the former head coach of the Tennessee Titans, is now a consultant for the Cleveland Browns. He led that team to the playoffs multiple times in Tennessee, great at hiring assistants, and overall an alpha coach that needs to come to Chicago and help lead this team. Led a top 5 defense every single year with the Tennessee Titans, knows Kevin Byard, who's a captain of the Chicago Bears and under contract next year, and is a good locker room coach. My worry is that when his offenses are hugely dependent on the offensive coordinator, and guess what? If it doesn't work out or he leaves for a head coaching position, whoever he ends up hiring, that means Caleb gets another offensive coordinator in his first 3 years in the NFL. So I kind of want to get an offensive-minded guy. Mike Vrabel, though, is definitely a defensive-minded guy I would love for the Bears to bring in, but a good option. But going to an offensive-minded guy, Kliff Kingsbury, who's been the number 1 linked guy, according to Ian Rappaport, former head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Caleb Williams, offensive coordinator at USC. It just makes sense. He's helped unlock Jaden Daniels and the Commanders' offense. But here's my thing. He's not a second half of the season guy. He has a 345% winning percentage in the second half of the season while he's been a head coach or offensive coordinator. Daniels also isn't progressing like he did, like Williams is right now under Thomas Brown. And he's had some subpar games since that Bears win that the Commanders had at 15-12, the Hail Mary game. So overall, the collapses kind of worry me for him. But something to watch out for with Kliff Kingsbury is that connection with Caleb Williams, which is obviously big. And then going into the next 2 guys really quickly, Aaron Glenn, defensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions. The Lions defense has been top 3 under Glenn for the last 2 seasons. Chicago has the second youngest starting defense in the NFL at the moment, and they're balling at a very high level without a guy like Aaron Glenn. Glenn can come in, make them literally the number 1 defense in the NFL. Also, Glenn is the kind of guy that is an alpha mentality, would be good at bringing in an offensive coordinator. So someone else to watch. My personal favorite that isn't Ben Johnson or the next guy, Thomas Brown. Needs to be considered, guys. I know he hasn't even head coached yet, but he needs to be considered. If he can win 3 of the last 5, get the locker room's respect, show this Bears team what he could have done if he was head coach. Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles have to consider that because he'll be considered for a head coach elsewhere. So we'll see what ends up happening with Thomas Brown. But those are the guys that are currently linked to the Chicago Bears in the search at the moment. But guys, bear down. An exciting time again for the Chicago Bears is that now that Kevin Warren is handling things, I'm feeling a lot more confident in what's going on. Not saying Ryan Poles is a bad guy, but definitely he needs to grow a little bit more as a general manager. But I'm excited to see that this team is taking the right direction on things that needed to get mastered. But with that, thank you as always for tuning into this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bear. Like this video if you're excited for the upcoming offseason, comment the head coach you want, and subscribe to the channel. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in, and bear down, baby.